What's going on, everybody? It's the Straw, and today is going to be a slightly different video to what I normally upload. It's not going to be a meme or a shitpost or anything along those lines. It's actually a very serious topic. There should be a trigger warning on the screen right now. So if any of you are uncomfortable with topics like these, I suggest you click off now because it doesn't get better from here. I apologize if I sound nervous, because I am. In lack of better words, I'm shitting bricks recording this video right now. But I know that it's something that I want to do, something that I want to spread awareness about, and something that I want to bring attention to. Because the previous video that I made wasn't very informative on the situation, looking back on it, at least to me. There was information that I didn't know that I now do know, which makes the video not tell the full story, and it doesn't make the situation seem as bad as it truly was. So, let's get into it. Okay, where do I begin? Well, it all started in my senior year of high school. Do not name drop this person, and because frankly, I still feel sick to my stomach when I say their name. We're just going to call this person Q. And now, I knew of Q. I had spoken to them a little bit previously before COVID hit, and we all had to go into online learning. You know all about that, I'm sure. But when senior year came rolling around, I'm a more shy type in person, believe it or not. So I didn't really speak much to anyone, and I reconnected with a good old friend of mine, VA, and I made a new in-person school friend group, and Q just so happened to be a part of this. Everything goes fine until, let's say, around early November. I'm DMing this person, because at the time I thought we were just really good friends. It was, it was right after I opened up to them about a bunch of personal things going on in my life, relating family issues that I will not get into in this video, because it's not what it's about. And, they showed to be there for me and care for me, and, it was really nice to have a support system like that, because it wasn't just her. And based off of recollection, because this is November 2021, so a ways away, or a while ago now, I think the topic of crushes or something came up, and then they went dead silent, and so I DM'd them asking if they were alright. Basically, one thing led to another, and then they told me that they liked me. And now me, I don't have the highest self-esteem. I don't think I'm the best looking guy. So that's why I've never face revealed, and that's why I keep all my IRL socials private, because there are times I do show my face. It's, like a struggle for me, because I struggle with my appearance, especially after what happened. And they started getting, I guess, more weird with me after they admitted that, being more like huggy and touchy and all of this stuff, and I never experienced something like this in person. And at the time I was with my current girlfriend, Audrey, and basically the long short of it is already being in a vulnerable spot, and me and Audrey were in a really rough spot at the time. At the time I wasn't even sure if our relationship was going to last. That's how bad our fights were. So I think at the time I thought that I was developing some sort of feelings, we'll call them. And so one thing leads to another. Me and Audrey end up at the breaking up, quote unquote, but for our sanity we just like to call them breaks, or call it a break, because given the circumstances that you'll learn in the other chapters, it wasn't something that realistically should have happened if she wasn't in the picture. And so I stay friends with this person, because I obviously wasn't ready for someone else after all that. And yeah, more in the next chapter. Around January of the new year of 2022, I'd say mid-January, they popped the question of, like, will you go out with me? And I think in my head, I was still really upset over Audrey and everything. She had just, at the time, like, cut me off. Obviously, that wasn't permanent. We were both going through our own struggles. And, I said, sure, why not? Yes, to try and fill the void in my heart. And because in my head, I was like, oh, maybe, I felt something before. Maybe there was something there, And it all went to shit really quickly. Because if I'm gonna be honest, with those 6 months that I was quote unquote with this person, I was just being used the entire time. I was used to benefit their own lives. I helped them move out of an abusive household. I helped them with everything. I even risked my education. I almost didn't graduate high school helping this person, because the way I am is I will put my problems aside to help those who I care about, or think I care about, in this case. And at some point, I messaged Audrey, because there was a split in the Orcats mod team, because she was an assistant mod and I'm head mod, and so it was one of those things where one person could go to stream, the other couldn't, and I basically hadn't been to stream for months because of everything going on. So I DM'd her on an alt account on Xbox, basically saying, hey, you don't have to like me, you don't need to, like, talk to me or be friends with me or whatever, but, like, we should both just tolerate each other for RC streams, because we can't let our personal issues affect with something he's worked so hard for. And lo and behold, she replies, which I was really shocked at the time, and we get to talking. And she tells me about a good friend of mine. I don't know if you all ever saw the video, but I made an announcement saying that I wasn't going to be associating with one of my friends, Aaron X Gaming. He was in a lot of my videos, and there was randomly just an announcement saying that he did something unforgivable and illegal. Now that's a story for another time. I won't get into what happened between me and Aaron and Audrey and Aaron and all of that, because that's not my story to tell. And we kind of bonded over that situation, because I obviously confronted Aaron over everything. We had a falling out, all of that, but we kind of bonded, kind of making jokes at the situation and coping with humor, and that led us to be very close again and be friends. And now Audrey had, let's say, someone else at the time. I won't list who that is. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. But she ended up admitting to me that she was realistically only with him to try and fill the void in her heart. Same with me, and that she never really genuinely had any feelings there, which, sounds really bad when you put it into retrospect, but it's not unheard of for people to do that when they're experiencing a lot of pain. And so she ends up breaking up with him, and then I admit to her how unhappy I had been with this person, Q. And then in late May, I decide to dump her myself. And me and Audrey decided to just stay really good friends. And Q didn't like that. It was one of those things where she was basically practically begging me to go back with her, because she wanted me to be hers and all this BS. And I basically listed off every reason of, no, I'm not happy. Your dad literally tried to fight me. That's also a story for another video, but a little teaser. I won. I feel like I've been used, that I was her crutch, and that I didn't want to do it anymore, and that I was unhappy. And from there, you think any ordinary person would regardless of how much it hurts, respect the other person's decision, but not Q. From there, she proceeded to break every single boundary that I had set in stone. She would still run up and hug me and snuggle against me and do all this weird shit, even though I would tell her to stop. Another one of our friends held a graduation party after we graduated from high school because I had to spend a month picking up all of my grades to graduate, which I did, and I still graduated with my silver GPA. But, at that party, she kissed me. I don't consider it my first kiss because I didn't consent, nor did I want it. And if you don't respect that, I'm gonna be honest, I could care less. I don't want to sound like the me, say whatever the fuck you want, but I didn't consent to it. I didn't want it. I told her not to do things like that. And then she took it another step higher and then kissed me. And I didn't talk to her for a while after that. Until, the day happened. Look, I don't remember when it was, what day it was. I only remember it was late June, early, maybe mid-July, that it happened last year, and it was in the morning. Because I didn't know how to tell my grandparents that I had basically just dumped her, because my family knew about us, I didn't say anything at first. Until afterwards, because I didn't know how they were going to take it. And so, since my grandma still thought we were a thing, if she would just show up, my grandma would just let her in. Just, no questions asked, let her walk in the house. And then it just so happened that this day that she came over, I was asleep. I was still asleep. I had a bad night the night before, and I was knocked out. The only things I remember were her walking into my room and saying hello and then falling back asleep. And I only remember feeling something on top of me while I was asleep, and for a second kind of opening my eye. I just, what I mean by something on me, I mean down there, obviously. And kind of opening my eyes ever so slightly, but I couldn't really see because it was barely anything. And obviously, I drifted off back to sleep because I basically had no energy. And all I remember afterwards was waking up and her in my bed next to me. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. It didn't cross my mind until I was staying over at VA's house, let's say 2 weeks afterwards. And 3 a.m, it clicks what exactly had happened. And to try and be respectful, I was trying my best to absolutely not have a breakdown right then and there, because everyone in that house was asleep. And obviously it wasn't my house. VA was asleep literally like a couple feet away from me. But I remember texting Audrey about it. She was comforting me. And I consoled in RC and VA and Audrey the most out of anyone relating it. And, I then confronted Q, to which she admitted to what she did, because I didn't consent or any of that. And I basically told her to never talk to me again, never come around my house again, never speak to my family again, none of that, because I couldn't do it. I'm not gonna have that person in my life after something like that. And so I let it sit for a bit, because I didn't know what to do. I obviously knew that if I wanted, I could file a police report, but my grandpa was having his own health issues, and I didn't want to put my family through anything like that. So I waited until I finally decided to have one last confrontation with her, and I hopped into a call for the very final time, and I basically told her I'm not gonna do anything, but just know that I could. And it was one of those things where I didn't want her to face the consequences now. I wanted to be able to sit on that and be able to play that card whenever I wanted, because at the time when she did it, she was 18 and I was 17, so still a minor. And she admitted to manipulating me into me thinking that I had some sort of feelings for her. Because I'd spoken a little bit with RC, and we came to that conclusion that there was a possibility that she did that, and she admitted that that's what she did. So, realistically speaking, she completely just fucked with my head, stole me away from Audrey, the person who I should have still been with, still am with, and want to be with for the rest of my life. Used me, and then did the unthinkable. And what makes it worse is she completely forgot that she did it until I had that final confrontation with her. And she admitted that she had already supposedly caught feelings for someone else. And, you know, it's just been difficult because after I realized everything that happened, I've suffered greatly. My already basically non-existent self-esteem has dropped even farther. It's gone from me just not liking looking into mirrors to genuinely feeling like wanting to throw up whenever I do. I have a genuine phobia of sleep. I'm scared to close my eyes at night to go to bed because she did it while I was asleep. And I have recurring nightmares. Some are me reliving the day, or like reliving me finding out. Others are absolutely fake scenarios where she comes and does it again when I'm awake. Just awful shit like that. And yeah, it's something that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. And my family still doesn't know, because I don't know how to tell them, and I'm not courageous enough to do so. And one of my only regrets was not telling my grandfather before he passed away. Because now I feel like, you know, I don't know, I missed my opportunity to tell him about it. But I know my family will know someday. When I feel courageous enough, I will tell everyone. And that'll be another very hard thing I have to go through. But I hope people learn from this video. I'm, again, sorry for the terrible mic quality. I'm outside on my phone, and I keep inhaling and exhaling because I'm really nervous, and I don't know how this video is going to do, how well it's going to be received, but I don't care. This is not only something for me, this is also spread awareness, and I just hope you all can recognize the signs of manipulation or any of these things so you can either potentially save someone else or save yourself. Because I don't wish this upon anybody. Being scared of sleep is one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through and will possibly go through for either the rest of my life or a very long time. And I'm going to take this trauma to the grave. This is forever going to haunt me. Regardless of how much progress I make, there's always going to be that little thing in the back of my head of, oh yeah, this happened. And, you know, just for anyone out there, sorry, I know this isn't what you expected from the big, tough boxer strawman guy, the funny Catman's friend. Because I put on a facade when it comes to things like this, and I don't really tell anybody about it. But, you know, I feel like I'm one of the last people you'd ever expect it to happen to, especially since in this society, a lot of people believe that things like that can't happen to guys or to men. But it can, and I'm here to basically be living proof of that. Of an individual, a man who didn't want that, and had it done without my consent. So, the future. Well, as you all know, Audrey and me got back together. We patched things up because we spoke about it and realized just how shit everything went and how much we still genuinely just loved each other, and which is why we still had a 5-year anniversary video, because we don't consider this a time of us breaking up. It was more like a forced break given the circumstances, because I was basically stolen away. And you know, we're doing really good. She helps me through it a lot, and I personally believe through everything we've been through, if we were able to make it through something like this, nothing will ever break us apart. As for the future, I just hope to try and move on from this as best as I can. It's only been about a year since it happened, so obviously it's gonna hit hard still around this time, and it probably will for a long time. But I know with my friends and my support system and my girlfriend, and even my dog, my little chunky loaf, that I'll be okay in the end. And just never be afraid to reach out to anyone. That's really all I can say, man. That's just keep those who you care about close, and always reach out to people. And just be cautious. People aren't who they seem to be. I thought this person was a really good friend, and look where it led me. Anyways, that's all, you guys. Take care.